Hey folks, my name is Ravish and welcome back to another video. Now this video is just to announce that yes, I did pass my AZ-400 exam and I went for it yesterday. If you remember, like I was creating a series in which I was telling that how much I am doing every day and was updating you over the course of like 9 to 10 days. So I was supposed to take my exam on 4th of December, but I took it on 10th of December because I was not very confident on that. So I moved it by a week. Then I prepared for it and then I took the exam and yes, I passed the exam. So take a look at this video. I'm going to share the experience that I had, whatever I did. I think I've already told whatever I did, whatever I've studied. And over the course of like end of this video, I'm going to share a few questions that I faced in my exam. 8 to 10 questions that I still remember that I was presented with, and I think I marked a clear solution for that. So 8 to 10 questions I still remember. So that's what I'm going to share in this video. And yeah, paper was kind of tough for me. And at the end I will explain all everything. Okay. So if you're new over here, I would like to request that kindly subscribe the channel because it really motivates me to create more content like this. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so first thing first, I'll start with the advices first. So the first advice I would like to give is do not go for the exam in the haste. I mean, if you have never worked on it, less than 1 year of experience, I prefer not to go for the exam. Work on it diligently for 6 months. If you're working every day, then 6 months is fine. Otherwise, if you're working on and off for 1 year, I don't think you are in the right position to go for the exam. But if you are confident enough, then you can take it. But I have been working on this since last 2-3 years. That's why I went for it. And at the time of exam, I was not much confident, and I was like kind of feeling that I might flunk today, I might not pass. But yeah, I did made it. So that was the first advice for you. The second advice that I would like to give is leave everything before 1 or 2 hours of the exam. Do not study anything, because that's what happened with me. And I was kind of stumped, right? Ki I cannot do it, and I was just going through each and every question every time, each and every topic every time, and this made me more anxious, and I was feeling that I'm not gonna pass. So never do that. Stop everything before going for the exam for like 1 or 2 hours. Don't do anything, just chill, drink water, take a chill pill, and then take the exam. Do not be anxious, because in that you might panic and it will be a problem for you because you won't be able to understand the questions. Okay, so that was the second advice. Third advice that I would like to give is whenever you go for each and every exam, so the number of questions that I faced is 51. 6 questions were on case study, and 45 questions were multiple choice question, and I did not get any simulation test. So the third advice would be, whenever you start taking the test, just go for the questions that you already know. For example, if I know 10 questions, I'll skip the other questions, go for the one which I know, because in that I was very much confident about. So I'll start doing that, click, and then review later. So there is an option above there, review later. Click on that and you can later come. If you do not know the answer, do not mark it in haste. Just leave it like this. And when you finish all the exams that you already know, then come back to it and then go for it. And then you can go to mark later and then you can resolve them. Okay. And yeah, this would be the advice. The fourth advice that I would like to give is whenever you go for an exam, they give you some kind of sketch pen and a piece of paper or something. And this piece of paper is like, I think, plastic covered, and you can write with sketch pen on that. Every time you are in an issue where you are not understanding the question, try drawing that diagram. I remember the question in which it was talking about 4 VMs, and 4 VM were under some resource group or something. I drew a resource group. There is enough time. There are 2 hours and it's enough time to draw it. There are 4 VMs. I draw the 4 VMs. I drew the 4 VMs. Inside that I created a resource group, and then I was trying to understand the question, that what exactly it wants us to do. And that has helped me a lot. And by this I resolved like 5 to 6 questions, because whatever I studied, that exactly that topic I did not worked on. So that's why I was able to do that. All right, so yeah, these are the 4 advices that I would like to give, and I hope you will like it, and do not take any tension, do not panic, and you would be able to pass the exam. All right, and if you are following me since like 2-3 months, then I think you already know about the Ignite program, and if you got this voucher from Ignite program, you have time till February, so utilize the time, no need to hurry. All right, so yeah, that would be my advice, and let's directly jump into the questions that I remember. All right, okay, so before moving forward, this is my result. So I have took a screenshot of the PDF because I had to blur this part. So my exam was yesterday, which is 10th of December 2022, and this is my candidate ID. Site number was something I just scribbled around it. The result was passed. This is the registration. The passing score was 700. The score that I got is 830, so I did pass. And if I remember correctly, the last time when I took it, it was somewhere around 740. So I mean, I learned a bit. So this is performance by exam section. Each section and its corresponding section percentage by the exam appears to on the left of the chart. So this is 100%, this is 0%, and this is a collaborative score of 830, and in which how much I've scored best in implementation and instrumentation strategy, and the least I scored is in developer security and compliance plan. So that was the weakest part, and rest all are the same. So yeah, that was my score. Now let's jump into the questions. Okay, so let's start from this question 1. So I faced 2 questions basically on these type, like what is burn up, cycle down, burn down, and there were some drag and drop questions over there. So these 2 I remember clearly. How did I find out them? Because I knew a few things like burn up, cycle time, burn down, and I searched for questions, and I found, and when I matched them, what I remember, and this was the exact question which I found on the internet. Okay, so these were the 2 questions. Now, first question, in which he's saying you are configuring project metrics for dashboards in Azure DevOps. You need to configure a chart widget that measures the elapsed time to complete work items once they become active. Which of the following widget you should use? This is the first question, and second one is you need to consider the underlying segment. You can just pause the video and read it, and I'll show you how to resolve this. Okay, so let us understand the basic idea of it. So let me select a pen over here, and I think this is good. So if you understand the diagram, this is something like state categories, okay, and then here you create a work item. So this is your work item. Okay, now when work item gets created, I'll type creation. When this gets created, there are further stages over here. So I'll just create this one, and one more stage over here, this one, and then we have this one. Okay, so this is something it looks like. So the process that you'll go through in this course is like Agile, Scrum, and CMMI. Okay, so when work item gets created, it's always new. Okay, so it's something like new. Same over here, new, and same over here, new. This is very important to understand because 2-3 questions will come from this. And then it goes to active, and then it goes to resolved once you resolve it, and then it gets to closed. Okay, this is agile process. In this, it goes to new, and then it goes to approved state. So if it gets approved, then it moves forward, then it is committed. This is scrum process, and then it's called as done. Okay, in this, once this is not exactly new, this is proposed. Okay, and this is, we are talking about CMMI. So just make sure that you know the process. They can ask on the basis of Agile, Scrum, and CMMI. And then from this, it goes to active, and from this active, it goes to resolve. resolved. Okay, this is also resolved. And then from here it's like closed. So this is the process. Now this is phase known as proposed, and this fail is known as in progress and resolved. And this is like closed or completed, anything is fine. Okay, now at the time of creation, I'll select the red color. Since the time of creation till it is completed, this time is known as lead time. Okay, and once it goes into progress until the time it's closed, this time is known as cycle time. Okay, now if we go back, what do we understand? So this person is asking, you are configuring project metrics dashboard. You need to configure chart widget that measure the elapsed time to complete work item once they become active. And once they become active, what exactly happens over here? From active to closed is cycle time. So cycle time is your answer. So this one is your answer. Okay. In the next question, it's the same. The burn up widget measures the elapsed time from creation of work to their completion. Select no adjustment required if the underlined segment is accurate. If the underlined segment is inaccurate, select the accurate option. Okay, you need to consider the underlined segment to establish whether it's accurate. This is the line you need to study. The burn up widget measured the elapsed time from creation of work item to the completion. This is the line from creation to its completion, and this is what I've showed you. Lead time, this is the answer. From creation till completion, this is cycle time, and whatever it is left, it is known as burn down. Okay, so there is no answer of burn down over here, and no example of test result trend or flow diagram. So this is cycle time. I hope you understood it, and the other one is lead time. So these were the two questions on the basis of this that I got. Okay, now let's move on to another question. Okay, so the other question was something like this. To compile an internet information services web application that runs Docker, you should use a default build agent pool. Okay, so something like that. I'm not correct. I'm not 100% confident that the language was something like this, but it was something like this. So the answer that I marked is hosted. I'll tell you why. So if you go to the website, these are self-hosted Windows agent. This is Microsoft official documentation. Okay, and here it is written, before you begin, if your code is in Azure pipelines and a Microsoft hosted agent meets your needs, you can skip setting up self-hosted agent. If your code is in on-premises TFS 2015 server, see a deploy an agent, this and this and this. So like you need to learn about this agents. So I'll just expand it a bit so you can read this. And on the basis of that, that's what I answered. Like I answered hosted. See, understand it this way. Microsoft hosted agents can run job directly on the VM or in a container. Azure pipelines provide a predefined agent pool named Azure Pipelines with Microsoft hosted agent. For many teams, this is, I think, simplest way to run your job. So the answer is C. That's what I feel. Okay, so that's what I did, and the answer is C. And you can go through this and understand, and the answer would be C. You do not need Mac OS. You do not need hosted Windows container. You just need a hosted one. All right. So this was the answer to third question. Okay. So the next question that I faced is related to the deployment part, and I got two questions on the basis of this deployment strategy. You are currently defining a release strategy for an app named App-01. The strategy should allow you to keep time it takes to deploy new releases of the app to a store minimum. The strategy should also allow you to roll back in the shortest time required. Something like that. Okay, so a word could be here and there. The application name could be different, but this is something what I found on the internet. So you need to answer which of the following release strategies should you use. So how do you tackle this? He's saying the strategy should allow you to keep the time it takes to deploy new releases of the app to a minimum. So basically downtime should be minimum. The strategy should allow you to roll back in the shortest time possible. So now there is red black deployment, rolling, big bang and canary. I have never heard of big bang. Canary, rolling updates, canary deployment, red black, what I have understood. Red black is kind of similar to blue green deployment. So there is a document that I found over the internet. I'll share this with you. This is the document. So this is Octopus Deploy website, and this is kind of like very famous deployment product. So if you understand the difference between blue green and red black, it's something like according to Stack Overflow. In blue green deployment, both versions may be getting requests at the same time temporarily, while in red black only one of the versions is getting traffic at one point of time. But the answer then goes to say that red black deployment is a newer term that used by Netflix, Istio and other frameworks platform and support container orchestration. So the best fit that I would get over here is red black over here, because there is no blue green over here, right? So the best guess that I can make is red black deployment. So I marked this, and I think I'm quite 99% sure that this was the right answer. So this was the one question that I got. Okay, so another question I faced was something like this. I mean, this could not be the exact language, but it was related to this. What can be used to make sure all the open source libraries conform to your company's licensing criteria? Okay, so there were 4 options. Maven is more of a build tool, in my opinion. So that was not the exact answer. Bamboo is kind of a deployment tool. CMake is another kind of a build tool. I think it is used for languages based on C, C++. It makes artifacts based on that. Black Duck is something like, so I googled it, and this is what I found. So if you'll Google, you'll find something like this. What is Black Duck in Azure DevOps? So Black Duck helps you ensure your applications are free of open source vulnerabilities and that they comply with the open source license and use policies as part of automated DevOps work. And this fits perfectly with what it has given over licensing criteria. So I marked Black Duck, and I think my answer was like, I'm quite sure my answer was correct. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Okay, another question was related to flows basically, and I do not remember the exact language of that, but I remember like what were the keywords. So they were talking about the tools, and they were talking about the usage basically. Okay, and we had to like drag and drop over here the usage. So there were 3 options that were provided to us, and the first one was I think users. What exactly is users? And the other one of user flows, and the other one was impact. So we have these 3 options that I remember, and they were looking for the usage. So what exactly is user used for and user flows, and there were some 3 random things given over here, and we had to just map. So I'll just give you an idea of like what exactly is users. So anything that contains number of people. So if it starts with number of people, basically number of people who will use or has used the actions and its features. Number of people who uses or used or uses the feature basically. Features and actions is known as users. So basically this would be the answer, and you have to map it over here. So even if it's down, then you have to drag it over here and then pick users over here. And then when we talk about the impact like literally means the effect basically. So how I made it out, the sentence was like starting with the effect. So effect that the performance of the application has on the usage of a feature basically. So wherever there comes an effect, so that's the definition that I told. Wherever comes the effect, it is impact. So you have to drag and drop impact over here. Okay, and then there was I'll write it down, like it was drag and drop. So that drag and drop, and this question can come because this is like kind of easy to pull off. And then there is user flows. User flows is basically usage of feature. So whatever feature a developer is writing, That's so you can write user flows over here. So this is one question that I got. And if you get this right, this wrong and this wrong, then also you'll get a mark, like 33%. And if you get all of them right, then 100%. And if you get all of them wrong, then I think it's 0. But it's evaluated on the base of that. So you can mess up 2, but you can write the third one correct. But I would wish that you can go for 3 all correct. Okay, so that was one question that I kind of remember. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, and this question has 3 parts. So it was somewhat divided into something like that, yes no kind of a question, yes and no. And the problem with this, with these type of questions, is they'll give you three scenarios basically, and 3 screens. So first screen, second screen, and third screen. The question would be same in all of them. The options would be asking, the option would be yes or no. So they'll present you with a question. You have to tell them whether whatever answer you have shown is correct or not. So if it's correct, then you have to press yes, otherwise no. And then you move forward. And the problem is this, you cannot come back. So generally what happens is people in haste and in hurry mark no over here. And when they go over here, they realize that, oh, the previous answer was incorrect. Let's go back and fix that to yes, but you cannot go back. So please pay attention. I'm writing it with red color. Pay attention to this kind of question and do not get confused, because you can't come back. You can't come back. So this is one other type of questions. Okay, so it was something related to database query. So I do not have exact idea of it, but it was something like you have you are working in an organization, okay, and you are using Azure SQLDB. So it was something like this. You are using SQLDB, and I actually drew this diagram in my exam, and it's basically intelligent insight, and like it's monitoring through application insights, basically application insights, and there is one concept of I think intelligent insights for that. I've not worked much on intelligent insight, but I know application insights. So it was something like that. And there is a user. There is a user over here, and the task of the user was to analyze the monitoring using ad hoc queries. So you just have to monitor this person has to monitor using ad hoc queries. So that was the question. So what exactly you have to do? So there were multiple options and yes no kind of a thing. So I was presented with, I guess, 3 screen if I remember it correctly. I had 3 questions, and I do not remember the answer to all of them, but I marked no, no, and no in all of them, because the first one was, I guess, they were talking about transact SQL. So transact SQL they were talking about, and this does not fit over here. They were talking about log analytics as well, if I remember correctly. Yeah, log analytics as well, and that wasn't working. And there was talking about one more thing, CQL. I think it's known as QL is query language, C is contextual. So all of the answer that I marked was no, no, and no. So I did not go for yes, because the correct answer over here is custo query language. So if you do not find custo query language in any of them, do not mark for yes. And this contextual query language, log analytics, and transactional SQL is a wrong answer. So yeah, construct query language, and this is the correct answer. I'll just move it over here. Okay, so if you find KQL, custo query language, then go for it. Otherwise this will give you at least like whatever 3% is, or like 30 marks or something. If I assume that if this question is of like 10 point, 10 point, and 10 point, this might give you 30 marks. I'm not sure whether this is the criteria, but I feel this can give you this. And again, play with caution, because you cannot come back. So if you find answer with custo query language, then go for it. Otherwise you do not have to go for it. I hope you have understood the question. So these are the like 7 to 8 questions that I remember, and I do not panic. Just do not panic over here, because you will lose the focus. You will become restless, and you might not understand the question, try drawing it like this, like I have drawn, right? Try drawing it like this. And if you're good, I think that would be easy for you. Like 5 to 10 questions were pretty much straightforward that I found. And there were around 10 questions that I literally felt that, okay, this is something new that I have not studied, because you cannot study all of them. In my organization, I cannot study all of them, and even you cannot study all of them. So like try drawing it and try playing with your experience, and I think you would be able to find it. And there was one case study which I exactly do not remember. There was a case study, and on the basis of that I got 6 questions, 5 or 6 question I guess, and something related to litware. I do not remember the question, but it was something related to litware. That's what I remember. All right. So I think that's what I faced, and that's what I can show you right now. And if I remember anything else, which I highly doubt, I will make a video on that and upload it over here. And if there is anything, feel free to comment below and we will address that. So thanks guys, and I'll see you very, very soon.